Awakening Kundalini. Since most people are content to live only in the lower chakras, their experience of this world is confined to the gross. For example, they may go to eat in an expensive candlelit restaurant. Their food is brought by waiters robed in white, carrying elegant covered silver platters. What do they get but the same dog food? They call it steak. They sit with a fork and knife and cut it neatly this way and put it that way. After eating, they may go to sleep or perhaps go out for a little dancing in order to prepare for a sexual experience later. The next morning, they get up just to make money so that they can get power and position to continue this process. They cannot meditate or cogitate. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where do I go? One becomes a human being only when these questions begin to be asked, and this happens only when the Kundalini is awakened. Till then, the intellect is used only for the getting of food, sleep, and sensual enjoyments. Awakening of the Kundalini means that your vibratory level goes up. At that time, sensual experience becomes dull and boring. You no longer need drinking, smoking, and gambling. It makes no sense to you because you have discovered that satisfaction, peace, and happiness are within. Your peace and joy will increase proportionately as this is realized. What ordinary people consider as happiness is for you nothing but pain. When that experience comes, it means that Kundalini has awakened. Once the Kundalini is awakened, the fear of death also slowly disappears. Now you know that there is no birth, no death. You find disease vanishing automatically. This is because disease is caused by gross vibrations by believing that you get happiness from the vibrations of these lower senses. These things will disappear automatically when the Kundalini is awakened. But don't look for a serpent to come up and hit you. Don't think, oh, my Kundalini has reached the third chakra, the fourth chakra, now it's only 2 chakras, moving to the fifth chakra. That's not the way the Kundalini gets awakened. In actuality, it is the aura condition that changes as the vibratory rate increases. The highest stage, called God consciousness, is where the Shakti vibrates with Shiva. The lowest stage of Shakti is the experience we get in association with matter. Matter is gross. For example, when your senses come in contact with ice cream, you get an experience of Shakti. It vibrates at a very low level. All of our 5 senses are Shakti, but they vibrate only when they come in contact with objects with matter. When you eat, when you hear music, or when you see something, it excites the Shakti in a very low form. In our lives, we are always having such experiences, but we are not happy about them. We want to increase that experience on a different wavelength. So we sit in meditation and try to quiet the thoughts, regulate the breath, shut off the 5 organs of action, that is mouth, speech, legs, hands, genitals and anus, and the 5 senses of knowledge, hearing, taste, smell, sight and touch. We get knowledge of the universe only through these 5 senses, and we perform actions through the 5 organs of action. These 10 faculties of man are called Indriyas in Sanskrit. To make the Kundalini Shakti vibrate at a higher level, you must withdraw from contact with external objects. To awaken the Shakti, you must stop the energy from going to the 10 faculties so that the mind becomes as still as possible. Then the senses are not reacting on the mind. The mind is not allowed to wander into sensual pathways. Each sense will say, "Come on, let me taste, let me hear," and will draw the mind to the sense objects. But once you're able to stop this extroverted, outward going tendency. You make the mind introverted. When the mind becomes introverted and still, then the Shakti starts vibrating on a different wavelength. It is awakening to power in at a higher state. When the Shakti vibrates only on lower levels, you get only the 5 basic sensual experiences mentioned, which is crude and gross. There is a dissatisfaction with that experience. You may remember how you used to go for holidays to a 5-star hotel. Early morning, you drank coffee, you smoked, you ate your breakfast with bacon and eggs, and then swallowed a couple of aspirins or pep pills. Afterwards, you sat by the swimming pool or went to the golf course or went fishing. In the evening, you ate your steak and then you went dancing. The senses went only in this direction. You never knew anything beyond that. But now you are looking for something else because you are unhappy living at the lower energy level like that of an animal. You want to get out of the animal experience to a divine experience. The ordinary human experience is very close to animal experience and perhaps even worse because we become very clever at using the intellect to satisfy the senses. How to alter the natural flavor of food by cooking and spicing so that it will taste better, or how to combine it with certain drinks so that it will be even more tasty. These are all the things. In this way, you use the intellect to prepare food, spending hours and hours in changing its nature so that it will have a different flavor and appearance. All the senses are brought into action. That is why there is unhappiness and pain in all of us. That pain has brought you to this point. But the Raja Yoga, we are stopping the outgoing senses and stilling the mind. Raja Yoga is called Chitta Vritti Nirodha, stopping the mental waves. In Hatha Yoga, we stop the pranic waves so that the mental waves will stop. In Kundalini Yoga, they say that when the senses are brought together, the energy will not move outward. At that time, thought will be in a higher vibratory level. The energy field will change. Actually, all these experiences are one and the same. Only the point of view is different. There is really no difference between Kundalini Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Mantra Yoga, Laya Yoga, and Raja Yoga. Each yoga may emphasize certain points, but they are not basically different from each other. They are all part of Ashtanga Yoga, that is the 8-limbed yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Mantra Yoga achieves energy or thought control by the use of mystic syllables. When you repeat Om Namo Narayanaya over and over again, you are changing the vibratory level of your thought. In Kundalini Yoga, by pulling the energy upward through control of the prana, the energy field changes its wavelength. In Hatha Yoga, by controlling the prana, the Kundalini is pushed upward, and in this way too, the energy level is changed. So you may say that eventually all these techniques are nothing but Kundalini Yoga. The Shakti must be controlled and transformed into a higher vibratory state. When you perform asanas, you're not just performing physical exercise. Asanas also act on the psychic system, just as acupuncture affects the various meridians. This is done by stimulating the prana. For example, when there is a problem in the liver, acupuncturists stimulate the appropriate area of a meridian with a needle so that the electrical impulses increase and the liver gets additional prana for its healing. But yogis can do the same without the need for needles, just from the asanas themselves. Take a Kirlian photograph before you do asanas and another one afterwards. You will see that the energy level has changed completely with a tremendous new emanation of energy. This has been proven by recent scientific research. And when you perform pranayama, not only do you get oxygen, but the wavelength of the chakras, that is the energy field, changes. This is being investigated by Eastern as well as Western scientists. In Japan, researchers have a chakra machine which can actually measure the energy wavelength in each chakra. It's like an especially sensitive microphone which picks up the wavelength radiating from each chakra without even touching the body. The signal is then passed through an amplifier and into an oscilloscope so that the wave pattern can be viewed. Each chakra will be seen to show a different wave pattern. When advanced yogis meditate, their chakras vibrate rapidly and so the pattern in the oscilloscope changes. Before this recent research, we had no way to prove the existence of these human energy fields.